I get that, absolutely. Well, we have known each other for quite a while, actually.
Since you rolled into our beautiful town.
Pretty much. You have been deeply involved with ITEC and certainly deeply involved with us as the chair of the foundation.
Yes, yes.
You know, a good way to start is just give us a little background. We've got people watching that may not know you. There's probably 4 that don't know you, but for those 4, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, I was born and raised here in Eastern Idaho. Graduated from Butte County High School.
Right.
Moved right over to Idaho Falls.
The big city.
The big city. Came to the big town and actually started at ITEC. Graduated with a chemical technology degree back in the days when that was a program. Went to work at the lab. Got my MRS degree there.
Do you want to, for younger viewers, maybe you could describe what
that's marriage.
Okay.
And then yeah, so life has taken me a lot of places. One place it won't take me is hopefully out of Eastern Idaho. This is my home. I love it. My husband and I have been married for 25 years.
Right.
He's been at the lab since he left ITEC.
And I know Rick well. He's been a great supporter of the college.
He is a huge supporter of the college.
So that's good.
Yes. We have 2 boys that have both come to CEI. One is still currently enrolled and will graduate with an associate's next year, I believe.
Good.
And yeah, so it's I've just kind of been a little bit of everywhere. I've worked at the lab a couple of times. I'm back to doing what I did a decade ago, and
well, you're so good at it. You know, you spent a number of years with the Downtown Development Organization. Is that right?
Yes, I was the executive director for Idaho Falls Downtown Development, and that was the funnest job. I loved that.
Yeah.
You get to do a little bit of everything.
Well, you do, and you know, we connected in a variety of realms with that. One of the great things about your background is you understand economic development. In fact, let's take a second and talk about what you're doing now for real, since you couldn't stay retired. But you really understand the region, which is so helpful for us, because we're going to delve mainly into the foundation and the work that you're doing with that. But I think we need to set a broad context for you, because you're certainly not a one-trick pony by any means. So what goes on with economic development with the Downtown Association?
So, well, right now I work for ASIPTA, or the development company in Rexburg.
That's right.
And we actually work for the 9 counties in our region. And so the greatest thing there is I get to connect not with just Idaho Falls. I feel very well connected in Idaho Falls, but not so connected in maybe Fremont County or Limhi County so much anymore.
Right.
So with that, we get to help assess some of their public infrastructure needs or economic development needs, and put packages, funding packages and projects together to help grow their area, grow their infrastructure, and bring in jobs. And the fun part, water and wastewater service.
And who doesn't love that?
The
less we know about it, the better. So that means everything is working quite well.
Yes.
Well, I'm a member of your board, and I've been that for a number of years. So kind of describe where the money comes in from for ASIPTA.
So for ASIPTA, we have we have several different grants and funding sources. So EDA is one of our biggest contributors.
Right.
But we also charge for our services when we write grants, administer grants, and put funding packages together.
Right.
The counties all help pay, because we are a quasi-government. We are a private nonprofit.
Right.
And we also have a loan side, which a lot of people may not know. We do a lot of small business loans, a lot of financing for businesses and communities.
Right. So there are a couple of buildings from ITEC CEI that would be connected with the ASIPTA. What are those?
So those are business incubation centers. We've got one in Rexburg, one in St. Anthony, one in Driggs, and CEI has a presence in 2 of those, in the Rexburg and the Driggs one.
Right.
And that's an opportunity for students in those outlying areas to take classes from CEI.
I get a little confused in salmon. I guess that maybe isn't one of your projects
It's
up there.
not.
Okay, all right, that's a
No.
different
Yeah.
project.
But maybe we should put one up there.
Maybe we should, exactly. We're trying to expand our reach up into the salmon area.
I think
and that's important.
It's important to expand our reach as far as we can, especially being born and raised out in Moore. It's important for those students who don't want to leave their hometown to get the education that we need. And having CEI and salmon and Driggs and those outlying areas is very important, in my opinion.
Let's set one other parameter, then we'll delve into foundation. But because you and Rick have had a deep and continuous relationship with the lab, there's a number of things going on, which is it will change the complexion of Idaho Falls and certainly the region. So
yes.
What do you think is happening? What do you think infrastructure-wise we the region need to worry about? And
well, it's really easy when we each go to our sink and turn on the faucet and the water comes out. We don't really think much about it.
It's a fine thing.
It's great. Yet when it doesn't work, we're not so happy.
Right.
And what we don't realize is how much a population increase stresses those systems. And I think we're going to see with the high number of employees that are expected to come into our region, a huge stress on not only the water and sewer service that we have, but also our roads. We all get fed up with the traffic on 17th, and now it's Sunnyside. And sometimes you have to wait for 2 lights.
It's out of control.
It's completely out
I came
of
from
control.
Portland, and I just don't have any sympathy. But keep trying.
But that being said, our housing, our housing inventory is at an all-time low, and we're expected to have hundreds of jobs open up, which will be great for our regional economy, but a huge stress on our communities. And so as we see our taxes raise a little bit, we need to be cognizant of the reality that that's the cost of growth.
It is, that's for sure. Let's delve into the foundation. So just kind of given your economic development background, I don't know if it's odd, maybe not a traditional path for people to move into the foundation world. So tell us about that. Why are you interested in foundations?
Well, I'll tell you, when I joined the foundation here, I have very little knowledge of foundations. We have a foundation downtown, and it's for beautification and arts. And so I was the executive director of that. Rick Hubbard was the executive director here and asked me to join the board. And it was an easy yes, simply because both Rick and I had gone to school here.
Right.
And I think the most important gift you can give anybody is a gift of an education. So it was a resounding yes for me to get in with the foundation and get to know it. And since then, I've really had my eyes open about what the foundation does, what our role is, what our mission is, and how we tie in with the college, because we are very separate entities, even though maybe looking in from the outside, people think that we're the same because we are housed here in your buildings.
Right. Yeah.
And we do share resources, and but it is its own standalone organization, and it's got value and importance, and we serve at the pleasure.
I love the foundation, of course, and you've got a great board, and you were deeply involved in hiring Dave Facer.
Yes.
So we are very fortunate to have him. So there are a lot of interesting and good things moving in the foundation, but why wouldn't we just as College of Eastern Idaho simply do all this ourselves and not have an outside entity? You're a 501c3.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't we just do it internally? What do we gain, or what's the purpose of having a foundation?
3 little letters, and that's the IRS. Like you said, we are a 501c3. Yeah. So we have the unique opportunity to take your money and allow you to have a tax write-off with that money.
And we love tax deductions.
We do love those tax deductions.
Yes.
the college, while it is a nonprofit, is not a 501c3, so
That's
people
true.
don't have that luxury. So we actually have one up on you that we can take people's money and help them relieve some of their tax burden. See, we're just doing this for the good of the community.
It's for the children.
It is for the children.
Yes.
Yes, but that's exactly why, because we can do things because of our tax status that the college can't. We can accept large gifts, we can accept cars, we can accept farms, we can accept houses. So anyone who wants to offload even a tangible property can do so in the name of the foundation, receive the tax deduction. We can then gift that to the college.
Right.
So we are an important arm for the college.
It is it's a critical element and really important. And you and your board are so supportive of the college. It's significant for us. So what are some of the things that you're seeing happening right now? And then we'll talk about the future in a second. But what's going on right now?
Well, I'll kind of go into what's going on at the foundation right now. So as CEI is growing and changing and being a real college from a technical school.
Exactly.
The foundation also has growth that must happen. And sometimes growth is hard and it's uncomfortable and it's new waters that we haven't navigated.
Right.
But it's important that as the college grows, that we grow, because we could stay stagnant. The fear there is that sooner or later you'll become irrelevant. And that was a long one to get out.
Sure.
And it's important, as the college has needs, that we're assessing those needs. And I don't mean just the college, I mean the students. We are in a very good financial situation at the college, or at the foundation generally. We have about $5.7 million in our endowment right now, which seems like a lot of money, but those endowments are meant to last forever. So we are always looking for new donors, new endowments. We have a very strong board. I will say this about our board: we have the luxury of having a lot of diversity on our board. We have some amazing board members.
You have a great board. I got a chance this week, because you had your board meeting. I think it's quarterly, and I got to mention a couple things from the college. And as I look around that room, I am so impressed. A little bit of everybody there, but it means they care about education.
And that's, and that's the most important thing. Every one of our board members has a passion for education and changing lives and making a difference in people's lives. And that's, I think that's why we all serve. But we have everything from executives to retirees on our board, and everything in between. And we all serve for the same reason, the same purpose, that it's so great to make a difference in people's lives.
It is. And again, you did mention the value of the board. And partly, I think people understand that rather than give money to the college, a public entity, they're giving money to a tax-exempt entity that is driven by a board. Our trustees, can't really tell you what to do with that money.
You can sure try, but it's really not going to go anywhere.
No, it may not. It just depends on if it's a good idea or not. But it's really important to know that you are governed completely outside of our board of trustees, and me in particular as the president. So you have autonomy, and I think a lot of donors appreciate that you can be up at 10,000 feet and see what can we help as the college moves forward.
And we are autonomous, we are separate, but in that same notion, it's very important that we work together, and we have good synergy, we have shared value and shared vision and shared goals, and right now we do. We actually we enjoy a very, very great working relationship with the college, and I think we both have our visions set on the same goals, and it's really wonderful.
So as with our faculty and staff and the leadership team here, there's a level of unity in the direction that we're going. And I certainly can see that unity with the foundation, and I've been around a number of community colleges, and not every one of them has the same level of unity. So sometimes a foundation may want to move in a direction that the college isn't going, and then you end up with friction. But again, I think you clearly articulated that we're moving in the same direction.
We are, and that's not, you know, a random thing. I think it's important that any board look not at what's next year, but what's in the next 10 years, what's in the next 50 years. And while we all serve because we're passionate about our vision and our mission, sometimes we have to get outside of ourselves and make decisions that maybe we don't love at the moment, but are for the best for the foundation. And again, we're in that learning, growing, developing stage right now of being bigger and growing, because as your enrollment grows, so does the ask for scholarships. Yeah. And campus scholarships and equipment for the teachers to use, or the instructors to use in their classes, and buildings and infrastructure, and it all grows as the college grows, and so we need to grow as well.
You know, we have been kind of locked in as a college with, you know, 3 regular ongoing sources of revenue for us would be the state, which is pretty significant. Over 70% of our money, ongoing money, comes from state CTE and general funds. And then we have a little slice of property tax. It's about 6%. And then the rest is in tuition. So we put a burden on those students. And let's explore a little bit how you provide scholarships to those students. Because, you know, as I'm talking to civic groups and different entities, we would love to transfer a junior over to ISU or U of I with no debt. Mm-hmm. We would love to turn a nursing student or a welder or someone in cybersecurity going to the lab with no debt. Those are things we want to do. And you help a lot in that.
We do.
So how do you think about this, and what's new on the horizon for students?
Well, we do give a lot. And
do you remember the numbers? Or this is kind of unfair to drop.
It's really unfair. It's over 300, okay. Maybe 360 scholarships this year, I believe. We'd have to ask our new executive director. That's we could
ask that, yes.
But we do give, and a $500 scholarship at CEI. Well, let me back up. A $500 scholarship may not go very far at U of I, but at CEI goes a long ways. With tuition being less than half.
Oh, it's almost
ISU,
or not quite a third.
A third, yeah. So a scholarship goes a long ways. It's a pretty easy process to apply for a scholarship. You have to write a 1-page essay. Mm-hmm. Anybody can write a 1-page essay,
right?
You know, and then we get the joy of reading those essays and handing the money out. And that's a day of tears, mm-hmm. as you read what some people have overcome, and joy, and the personal satisfaction that you get seeing these students that you don't have a face or a name, but you see them on paper, and then you go to graduation in May and see their families in the audience hooping and hollering and screaming for their mom, who is 47 and just got her degree. You can't ask for a better feeling than that.
That's exactly right.
And we, you know, giving to a high school student that's coming in that is first generation college is great, or any student that's coming to school is great. It's important, I think, for our region to know that as we retool ourselves as adults, there's help. It's hard to run a household, pay the bills, go back to school, keep your job, whether it's part-time or full-time, and balance everything. We're here to help facilitate that. We're here to help remove that financial burden, which removes a lot of other burdens. You know, when you're stressed about money, everything's hard. You we take that stress away.
You do. And I don't know if you have any particular stories. I didn't ask you to come in with a story, but we love to have stories. Those things are better than a president or a chairwoman explaining how how good a job we're doing. But does a student in particular come to mind?
We've had a few students come to our board meetings, and we haven't since
I love those.
COVID.
Yeah.
But it's so wonderful to hear that. Basically, I was down. I was hard luck Sally. I didn't know what to do. I got the scholarship. I went to school. I was able to feed my family, focus on school. It's hard going back to school after 20, 25 years.
Yes.
And remembering how to learn. And so if we can take that burden of having to work part-time away, but we've had a couple of students that, and I don't remember their names, but some young in their 20s and some, one lady a little older, my age. But it melts your heart to hear these stories and know that because of the foundation, they were able to better themselves, make a difference for their family, and then their children see the difference that they've made and have a desire to get an education. It's pretty easy to not go to school if your parents, your lineage hasn't gone to school. You're like, you know what, they did fine. But when you see your adult parent go back to school, as when you're 12, 15, you have a stronger desire to go to college. And it's wonderful to see people that have come, went to CEI, now own their own business, they're successful, they've just leaps and bounds, and there's no better feeling than knowing that you helped facilitate a change in their life.
Are you a first generation college student?
I am.
Well, wonderful.
Yes, I am.
So all the way around, you're kind of a poster child for us, aren't you? So you come here. Yeah.
I was long line of farmers and ranchers.
Yeah. So you kind of broke that cycle, and not that isn't an important thing, but you can't really be a farmer or rancher without some level of additional skill set that we provide.
Yeah. And just anything, just knowing that you can go to school, get that degree, it speaks something to yourself, but it also speaks to your employers. You did something hard and you finished.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that those without a college degree are any less, but it's great when you have that, and it's great to have that sense of accomplishment.
I'm glad you brought up graduation, and we were really disappointed this last year that we couldn't have it, because again, it's as much for the students who graduate as the families of those students who graduate. To see young kids watch mom or dad walk across the stage, it's a big deal, and you're watching them go across knowing that they may be debt free, they may have very minor debt. We just got done doing placement. Every year we look at career technical, and we look at the placement of our students, and we've got a 97% placement rate. So if a student graduates from here in CTE and they don't have a job, it's pretty clear they didn't want a job, because 97% placement is wonderful. But even more importantly, these are not trivial jobs. These are not minimum wage. When we look at our RN and LPN and the welders and those kind of occupations, they're at least $20, if not $25 an hour, which is an equivalent of a $50,000 a year job out of college.
When you're 20.
When you're 20. Yeah, exactly.
So I graduated when I was 20, back in 1994. Long time ago. And I left here and went.
I have no sympathy.
Went to the lab and started at 1850. And in 1994, I was making $18.50 with a 2-year associate degree.
I know.
And it was amazing. And not that my life would be any less or different, but it would be different. But I'll tell you, the confidence that gave me was amazing. And knowing that I can do this.
Right.
And I I didn't have debt. I worked full-time as I went to school, so I didn't have debt. The foundation started after I was gone.
Right.
But knowing that you can walk out of here at 20 and make $20 an hour, entry level, but with an education, is huge.
It is. And well, let's change the topic of discussion a little bit. And you're kind of shy and reserved, so I know you're starting to break out of that a bit. But
Well,
part of what you do is you ask for money, and I've always made the invitation that if you need me to go along, because that helps in any way. Sometimes it doesn't help, but if it does, you've got that open invitation. So how do you ask for money for the foundation?
generally.
Okay.
Now, the easiest way, and not just for our foundation, but in general, the easiest, you want to give money to somebody who's passionate about what they do.
Exactly. Right.
It's a little easier to ask for money from the foundation because most people see the importance of education.
Right.
And it doesn't hurt that our operating expense is so low at the foundation that if you give a gift of $1,000, $999 is going to go to a scholarship, if not all $1,000. So we're so fortunate that most all of our money goes right into the scholarships. We have fundraisers to help with our operating costs, but our money goes to scholarships. And when you can take a student or a letter that a student's written and show somebody the impact that donation will have on another person, that's even easier. We all give to different areas. We may not realize it. Maybe we give our money to the restaurant every Friday night. Maybe we give to the animal shelter. Mm-hmm. Giving, for those who haven't given in the past, anytime you give to a nonprofit, you get a sense of, I helped, I made a difference. And I think especially in today's world where everything's a little bit crazy, having that feeling inside is wonderful. And that's the most important thing when we do ask for gifts, is to let people know that your donation makes a difference.
I hadn't thought about this, but you bring it up because I knew it, but I hadn't thought about it for our discussion. But almost everything goes to the purpose of the foundation because Dave and Bailey's salary are covered by the college, and so there are a number of things that we really don't delve into the gifts for. And we actually have a small amount, I don't remember, but it's something like $2 out of the $129 in student tuition that we give to the foundation as well. So the college has carved some of that out. So it gives you a really nice block of funds to distribute. So,
it does.
So what do you look at? And do you take into account Pell Grants or any of those kind of things as you think about who to award scholarships to?
We don't, because we are separate from the college.
Exactly.
We really don't know the student's true financial situation. And I think that's important because we can pretty much assess it from their essay. Right. But I'll tell you this, if you're really good at writing for scholarships, you can make money going to school. You can have more scholarships than you have tuition, and kudos to those students. But, a scholarship can be more than just tuition. Books are not cheap.
They're not cheap. Right?
Living expense is not cheap. Gas to get to and from class is not cheap. Laptops, you really can't go to school without a computer anymore. Those aren't cheap. And we forget that when a student goes to college, it's more than just the tuition. There's all these ancillary expenses that a scholarship can help provide for. So that's what's important, I think. And we don't want to look at their financial situation and say, well, they've already come to school with 3 or 4 grants. We're not going to give them a scholarship, because that defeats the purpose.
Exactly. So Julie McMurtry is giving you a shout out.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah, no, isn't that's wonderful that she's recognizing this, and Leslie Jernberg too is.
Hi, Leslie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So BPA is a big deal.
BPA is a big
deal. It's a wonderful deal.
And BPA is almost like finishing school for a lot of students. You get out of Idaho Falls. You get to interact with your peers. You get to almost be in a workplace situation. BPA is awesome. It's yeah, I like it.
Exactly. No,
sorry, I go down too many rabbit holes.
No, that's the whole point. The foundation is very broad and very deep. How do you recruit? Well, first of all, I don't know this. I probably should. You probably should too, but don't. How many board members can you have, and how many do you have? Then how do you find them?
We can have. I believe we can have 25. Right now we have about 20. It's a lot.
It's hard for me to work with 5 board members. Carries on. So
yeah,
5 board members is a lot. So
20's a lot.
20's a lot. But it's not a bad thing because they really do a different thing, don't they?
Well, it brings diversity. And like I said earlier, we have a very unique and diverse board, and I love it. And how do we find them? Generally, it's through word of mouth. What's most important is when somebody is asked or approached about it, it's how passionate are you about the college, about education, about nonprofit giving. Of course, we would love board members with affluence and influence in the community, but everybody brings something to the table. There is not one board member on our board that doesn't bring something to the table. And the nice thing is, when we're having discussions, you get different perspectives because we all have our line of sight and we don't always see what's over here, but somebody else will, and that's important. So we are always looking, because we have board members that their term expires all the time. We're always looking for new board members,
right.
People that want to make a difference, people that do have a passion for education in the college.
In the past, we've kind of been centric to Idaho Falls in a lot of respects, and you and I have had some discussion as we get into 9 counties, and we probably should, although that Blackfoot doesn't technically reside, it doesn't hurt for us to scoot in there a little bit, but I think you're interested in recruiting board members from around our full region.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of that goes back to what I said earlier. I think it's important that our reach go outside of Bonneville County. It would be wonderful to have board members from the Teton Valley, from Salmon, from Custer County, Fremont County, because our students come from all of those areas. So it's important, as we all have connections out there, friends and family. If we have a connection we can share, hit us up at the foundation. Let us know. We definitely want to expand our horizons and get out a little bit wider geographically.
Yeah, it does make sense. I don't know if you want to address this. We'll see if you do. But there are individuals who are high net worth, and they begin to age a bit. We all age a little bit. So for people with significant sums of money, they may start to look as to what good can they do after their passing. And I don't know how you talk to them about it. Dave does a lot of that kind of work, but you know about it as well. So how do you think about that? And
the most important thing when approaching a donor of that value is find out how important it is that they leave a legacy.
Okay,
if they set up an endowment, an endowment is money with strings attached. That endowment, they tell us, well, first they tell us how much they're giving us, and then they tell us how we can use the money, how we can distribute the money. Can we only use the interest that's made? What students it goes towards? If they're heavy into agriculture, does it have to go towards a welding degree, or if they're healthcare related, does it have to go to nursing? So they can tell us exactly We want you to hand out 3 $2,000 scholarships a year. We want them to go to female students who come from a rural population,
Right.
who are going into a nursing degree and have at least a 3.0 GPA. They can be, I mean, the restrictions
Really
can
tight.
be really tight.
Really tight.
Or they can say, have a party, here's my money, use what you need.
Use it for the best. You
Yeah.
pick out who needs it.
Yeah.
And use that.
And so really, but each year, as those students get that gift, each year as those students cross that stage in the program, you'll see the Rick Aman Scholarship Fund.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to see their name in print every year? Well, they won't see it, I guess, if they're not around anymore, but their family will remember.
They will.
It's a great way to leave a legacy, to leave a lasting impact on our region, on our students, on our future.
Yeah, you're pretty good at this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when can we expect your donation? I'm kidding.
I believe
you already have one.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, Linda and I
Linda
do.
has,
That's
yes.
important. So.
And we appreciate that.
No, of course.
And it's fundraising is hard.
It
It takes every one of us. And we're all ambassadors for the college because we're paying those taxes, right? Or
Right.
we have people in the school and the faculty, the staff, the trustees. It takes everyone to help the foundation grow. We all have those people that we know that might be interested in leaving a legacy, and you can drop Dave Facer a line or me a line, and we're always welcoming those names.
I'm glad you're doing that. So we want you to look at the camera like you did. And
Please give us your money.
Well, exactly. That is important.
Yeah.
But, especially for us as employees, we appreciate the mission of the college. So during in-service, we always try to remind employees or anybody watching that that they can give to the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
We're here because we appreciate the mission of the college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it does take a village. It takes all of us working together. And and I know you've seen that just with your faculty and staff. It takes everyone to make this college great.
It does.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm glad that you brought up is the difference between a gift and an endowment.
Mm-hmm.
So as you mentioned, an endowment goes on
Forever. And like I said, we have about we're just under 5.7 in our endowments right now,
Mm-hmm.
which seems like so much. But when you realize that money has to last forever,
right?
We're always looking to grow that endowment. Now, I may not have 10,000 or 100,000 or $1 million laying around, but what I can give is a gift. And that voluntary contribution, when you give to the foundation at www.ceigiving.org.
Nice touch, that's good.
You can tell us how you want that money spent.
Right.
Is it unrestricted? Do you want it for operating expense? Do you want it just for scholarships? And a $50 gift is very welcomed. As the same as a
right?
$500 book or gift. Yeah, $50, it adds up, and people don't. I think a lot of times we're like, they don't need my $20, but we do, because $20 and $20 and it all adds up. And you can give once a year, once a month, once a quarter. Before the days of COVID, we had a lot of fundraisers, and it was easy for people to give then. And now everything's changed and it's a little harder, and our donations are down. We've not had a fundraising event all year. And
let's delve into COVID for just a couple of minutes. And you really have described the problem. So what all of us are thinking in out of the box ways because of COVID. So what's the foundation doing because of COVID?
So we actually transitioned right as it started. We lost our executive director, hired a new one right as COVID started. And the timing really couldn't have been better, because not much was happening at the foundation when nobody even knew what was going on. Well, now we've kind of got our bearings together. Our annual giving magazine will go out. Our new executive director, Dave Facer, who I couldn't be more pleased with, is starting to reach out to previous donors. a lot of that has to be through mail and email, which is so impersonal and so hard. But we need to remind people that there is still a need, probably greater now than ever, as people retool themselves so that they don't get laid off from their entry-level job again. COVID's brought a lot of challenges to everyone, but just trying to navigate those waters and reminding people the importance of a gift right now when it's not maybe the top of their mind. You know, our fundraising events not only raised funds, but they also raised friends. It's a lot about visibility in our communities and keeping the CEI name in front of our audience. And it's hard to do that when we're all locked in our houses.
Well, it is. So you are quite the ambassador. So that is important. And, you know, we can do the Great Race. And that's kind of a mainstay of the college. And we had a number of organizations that gave anyway.
We did. Oh, thank heavens for, you know, there is always good in the world. And sometimes you don't have to look very far. Right. We had some amazing annual contributors who sent their check early, or maybe sent it even after we knew it was canceled. And we asked, do you want us to hold this for next year? And they were so gracious and so giving. They said, use it now and we'll pay you again next year.
Right.
And you know, it just reminds you that there is good in the world, but just we have some real wonderful people in our area.
We do. There's no question.
You know, and just generous and kind, and realizing that we're all suffering right now, and here's a little bit to help you go a little bit further.
Yeah, so that all makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, Krisi, we are coming to the end of our time, and it really goes quickly.
It does.
And one of the things I ask our guests is to maybe reflect on a couple of leadership principles. So you've been in areas of leadership a lot. Mm-hmm. So what would you tell us are a couple of those principles that you think have worked well in your career?
I think probably first and foremost, if you're not passionate about it, get out of the way. You're not to be the leader.
Yeah.
You have to be passionate about it. And every boss that I've ever worked for is either a boss or a leader. And really it comes down to their level of passion.
Mm-hmm.
In that. Also, not one of us knows everything. So surround yourself with people smarter than you are, more capable than you are, have more experience than you are, and get out of their way. Right. Let them do the things that they're good at, and you do the things that you're good at. And again, that's what's great about our board, is we are so diverse. Some of the things that our board members talk about, I'm like, whew, no idea. But that's their role on the board, right? We each get a turn to be the leader, but we all bring something to the table. So, you know, get out of the way. And probably one of the most important lessons as a leader is listen. Mm-hmm. Again, we don't know it all, and that other perspective might shed a lot of light on an area that you really need to have that light shown on.
Well, exactly. I really appreciate those insights, and those all make sense. And you know, the interesting thing with Dave is he kind of has two bosses, doesn't he?
Lucky.
He is so lucky. That's right.
I think you missed two of the best bosses.
I would agree with you. I think that's absolutely true.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, and honestly, I couldn't be more pleased. We did a good job. You know, high fives, elbows, whatever we do. Right. Yay us! Found the diamond in the rough there. He's been amazing. He's been great.
No, he has a lot of great experience. So Krisi, again, I want to thank you for bringing your enthusiasm to us. We've got a lot of viewers, and I think you've given some inside insight as to how a foundation works.
I hope so.
Yeah, it can be complex under the under the hood when you start to look at what this has to do. But you and all of the board members have contributed so much for our students, and I just want you to know, from our board of trustees and our faculty and staff, we very much appreciate that.
Thank you. It is definitely a service of love.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way to phrase it.
Thanks for having us, or me, today, and and letting us get more information about the foundation and its need out there, especially right now with what's going on.
No, that's exactly right. So I want to wish everyone watching a wonderful weekend coming up. And, we have a new dean of CTE. So Chuck Balakay has just joined us today. It's his first day, and Vice President Barber has been walking him around doing some introductions. Next week, I've got a conflicting meeting, but Lori Barber has agreed to take my place, and she is going to interview Chuck. So I would encourage you that if you haven't met our new dean of CTE, to have you tune in at noon on Friday. So enjoy the weekend.